trippy stuff happening there. Like, I took a group on the last equinox to a place called the Calendar Stone. Not many people know about that spot in New Zealand. A guy called Freddie Silver made it popular. Freddie talks about the connection with this particular part, which is on the centre of New Zealand, that goes like the backbone through New Zealand, called the Southern Alps. And this is a point right on the top of those Southern Alps, which is like the Kundalini of New Zealand. That point links up with Easter Island, Hawaii, and Tiwanaku in Lake Titicaca, and it forms this huge spot of the whole of the Pacific Ocean, of the volume of water, the biggest volume of water on the planet. Now, what is happening on October the 2nd this year is there's going to be an annular eclipse. Now, an annular eclipse is different to a total solar eclipse. It's just as rare. It's phenomenally beautiful because you get this ring called the Ring of Fire. Now, it will cast a shadow on the exact spot of the Pacific Ocean, that great mass. What's the significance of that? And that's for each person to have a look at. Why? But having taken a group there and being aware of it, I was looking at being positioned at a place called Abydos in Egypt, which is the place of first breath. So in the Atlantean time, they were able to connect with water. So the Atlanteans never used any hieroglyphs. That came later. Theirs was all frequency. They would just read the water, and they would store information in the water. Everything, all of those temples, was the chakras. So each temple in Egypt, as you go up the Nile, works on a particular part of your body, of the rainbow, of the colours, of the notes, the frequencies. The point in Abydos was once the conception has taken place, there's a whole stage that they move through to the birth point. The birth point took place at Abydos. There's only two places in Egypt that you can tell that it's back from Atlantean. That's the pyramids of Egypt and Abydos. So Abydos is a place where the birthing takes place, which is the first breath. Now, the reason that the Atlanteans located their place in Africa, at that particular spot, was because they knew how to read water. So what they wanted to do was connect with the earth. And so all of the rains, all of the water, the whole of Africa, everything, all of the animals, all of the insects, everything, because water remembers everything that's been through, all of the plants, it all comes through in Africa in this huge delta, which goes down to Burundi and Rwanda and Uganda, and starts coming in and filling up this longest river in the world, which then has all this information, and they were right at the end of it before it went into the Mediterranean. And so they could tune into the water, and they would be able to feel it in a way that you could only do when you realise that you're water yourself. In that resonance, they would have an understanding of what it's like to be in an earth form, in a body, your larger body. And so for this thing to be happening in the South Pacific, that's going to happen on October the 2nd, what that is and what it's coming at is that water represents form, and air, because it's happening on a Libra new moon. Libra is an air sign. Air is mind. You have this breath in water, which is form. And so in a sense, it represents the physical waking state and the dream state. So actually what can take place at that point, in water there's oxygen. And in oxygen, in air there's oxygen. And so when you learn how to breathe that in water, the two states of dream and waking become one state. And at that point, that becomes very significant when that's embodied, because a person knows that they're the creator of their own reality. They are not a victim of this life. They are actually determining it through their imagination. So then you can have a really powerful awakening. And then once you know you're creating, you're not harm anybody else outside of you, because it's all you. You see? Right. So then you don't need a police force, you don't need an army. But that's moving the human being from a juvenile state to an adult, where they are adults enough to know that they're creating their own reality and the consequences for their actions, for their intention, will awaken in that sense. Because in the dream state, all you think is that I'm going to be in Austria on skiing, and instantly you're there. Yeah. And if you're in Peru, you're instantly there. Mm-hmm. So you have instant power of manifestation. You know you're creating it. But here in the physical reality, it happens so slow you don't know you're doing it. But when those two states merge, one will know they are definitely doing that. That changes everything. Here we are.